call the meeting.
Yep, we're gonna, what, 5:32 and we're on the meeting.
Quick.
I prefer a cattle run. I've got access to
That would be
those.
awesome.
Okay. Would you like me to go ahead and share your, do we just go right into it? Mr.
Well, we need to
Yes, it is.
review the minutes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from September?
Okay, go for it. So review the minutes and I'll pull this up.
Uh, September 24th or September 25th?
It was the 25th. No,
So one says 24th, one says 25th.
I'll change the date.
There's my correction for you.
Okay.
You have access to the drives, Shannon, probably easier to find on the drives.
Well, if they give it to you here,
On the iDrive, they do, you can log on.
they don't let us log on in here anymore.
What? If that's okay.
Wait, hold on. There you go.
iDrive
There we go.
and CDBG.
Yeah, that was the last one you sent me.
2020.
Yes.
I move we approve the minutes as written.
Can I get a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Minutes have been approved.
There's the PowerPoint
With that
down.
correction.
This one?
It's probably the 10/10/24, it looks like it. Think. That looks much better. The dates look like it.
Okay. All right. Slideshow, hold on, beginning. Oops.
All right.
Let me get. Where is? Hold on, I need to get back to, where is it? Are you still there, Denise? Oh, there it is.
I'm
Denise?
here.
Okay.
There's Lori also.
Hi, Lori. Where is my Teams, man?
Just search tech and teams. And have it go that way.
It's right, white. I'm gonna share.
No, because it's an edge, not in Teams.
All right,
Hey.
here we go. All right, and take it away, Jeff.
All right, so everybody knows who I am. We don't show up all that much anymore.
I have two Lakewood Youth Council members here who don't know who you are.
That's what I introduced myself.
Oh, sorry.
And Martha. So I am Jeff Dunn. I'm the Housing Division Manager. I manage, we're here to talk about tonight would be the CDBG and home programs. The city gets a bunch of money through HUD on an annual basis. Every 5 years we have to do a whole planning process. With me today is
I'm Martha Larkin and I'm the program coordinator for CDBG.
So we're literally starting our rubber chicken circuit with you guys. So we're going to go from now until December, probably about 10th. We meet with the council on December 9th, but we're going to do a bunch of public outreach. I'm going to start with the CSAB. We will eventually do some several channels collaboration and all the housing providers, all the service providers, and everybody under the sun, youth council, as well as neighborhood groups. So the money that we get from HUD, we're supposed to use it for certain individuals. And the planning for that is a 3-step process. So there's consolidated plan, there's an annual action plan, and then at the very end of it all, we wrap it up with, hey, here's what we did, we consolidated. So right now, we're at the start of this consolidated planning process. It's a 5-year plan. That typically takes about 8 months. We start on October, now, finish on May 15th. Next slide. So the consolidated plan, it's kind of what sets the framework for how we're going to spend our $62 dollars. 2025 is over. It's actually 6. But there's a bunch of different components of the plan. So there's a needs assessment, market analysis, strategic plan, and a 1-year action plan. What we do when we're putting it together, we look at components of demographics of the population, income levels, housing characteristics, housing costs. We look at cost burden for households. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we have to do that wants us to do to kind of look at what our community is as a whole, what the needs are in the community, and then we try and hit those needs with targeting our funding to meet that. And kind of with all of that, the all-encompassing thing is kind of affordable housing that kind of drives a lot. So the next one is after we've established the 5-year plan, it kind of sets the big goal. Say over 5 years, we're going to serve 55 households with affordable housing rehab. So we're going to serve 500 households with 10-based rental assistance, whatever our 5-year goals are, to set that. And then each year we come back and we do an annual action plan. So okay, this year we're going to do this part of the housing. We're going to do this part of the economic development, help businesses, hire low individuals. As long as every year we're working to build out to get to that 5-year goals. So that's the second part of the annual action plan. And again, it's done every single year. It identifies what we're going to spend our monies on. And then once we're done with all of that, we wrap it up at the end of each and every year. It says, hey, here's what we planned on doing. Here's what we did. Here's what we said we were going to do. What we proceeded, or what changed. Then from this process, the next slide is there's a public outreach. So it's kind of what we're doing now called the rubber chicken circuit. So Martha and I, between now and December, are going to hopefully hit as many organizational groups, council members, boards, planning commissions, kind of everything, and get input from the citizens of Lakewood. We're going to do a couple of public meetings, a bunch of different public outreaches to agencies, and we're also going to do an online survey. So there'll hopefully be a bunch of citizens of Lakewood as to what we're going to spend our monies on. So this just kind of gives you a list of who we're targeting for our outreach. So I mean, it's anything from business owners to property owners, renters, owners that are occupying single-family housing, city council, boards, you all as an advisory board, youth council. Anybody who has a thought of what we should be spending our dollars on, like to hear from them. So next piece is so the eligible activities that we look to do, as I mentioned, kind of the biggest umbrella is affordable housing. So things that we can spend the money on would be like home rehabilitation. We can build new low-income housing. We're doing something like Blossom right now. We're going to be. We can do rental rehab, so apartment complexes like your community housing board. There's down payment assistance, those types of things. Community development is infrastructure or community facility. So Tilcomb Community Center for years was something we did a bunch of rehabs there. We did doors, EFN, we built freezers for them, all kinds of things. Streets, roads, sidewalks. Economic development, we haven't done all that much of, but ultimately, if you help a business, it needs to lead to a job for them. So whatever we're doing right ultimately comes back to creating jobs in the city of Lakewood. And then public services, we kind of gotten away from that over the years because primarily it does the same things you guys do. Services funds. Next slide.
We could always use more money.
I know. So this kind of gives you a historical funding of what we've spent. And this literally is to last week. So with a penny. Affordable housing since 2000 until last week, we've spent just over $7 million. Infrastructure 4.9 almost. Economic development, as I mentioned, we haven't done much economic development. We've tried a few things and it doesn't every time it works so well. And then public services. We've done actually a fair amount of public services. We do a lot of it back in the day. Mostly focusing on the housing infrastructure over the last probably 5 or 6 years. I think at the end of my slides, there's another one. Forgot. The other component that we have to do is analysis of impediments to fair housing. So as part of our 5-year plan, as part of our looking at the community, and what's going on in the community, we have to figure out what the issues are. What's keeping affordable housing, what's keeping people getting into affordable housing built in the wrong area. So we look at the housing rates and our housing population, we're looking at race, we're looking at demographics, we're looking at income, what's been developed, is where's housing available, is not enough housing available, and then trying to figure out things like a big thing for us would be like housing for persons that are the same colored population, or somebody who's got a disability that's with English. There's all kinds of issues that we consider somebody who's got a disability being discriminated against certain categories, their sex, their creed, their sexual orientation. And there's all kinds of things that are discriminatory action. We have to kind of see what's going on in the community, and then focus on alternatives to fixing it. So if we're going to invest in funds, so we spend on for housing activities, we spend on for housing activities, what are they, how are they looking to issues for vulnerable and disabled and populations. So that is the second. It's part of the 5-year plan. It's a standalone document that's kind of all so then the last one should be the end. So yeah, so the reason that I came before you all and Mark came before you all is just to kind of, again, just where we're at, starting this process. Years ago, we used to have a lot of involvement in the CSAB, and it's since kind of what council has wanted to do over the years is focus on housing rehabilitation, discussing that the house, and they like to I thought the point was no off streets, roads and sidewalks and street lighting. Building affordable housing. The city of Lakewood on an annual basis gets about $500,000 to $600,000 in CDBG, and we get about $300,000 in home funds. So it's not a huge amount of money, and we can't make a huge impact. So we have to kind of try to figure out how we're going to spend that money most impactful, because the project that we're doing with Los Angeles, for instance, affordable housing, $500,000 is not paying for the house. So we've had to partner with different organizations. So bringing the Lawson group together with the Department of Commerce funding, Pierce County funding, our funding, direct funding from the state, feds, we kind of have to bring everybody together and really make sure we can fund it's really hard to do. So what I'm thinking in the future is council's probably going to want to continue to do affordable housing. They haven't mentioned that they don't go away from that. So my understanding is that will probably be a focus moving forward. The home funds themselves have to be used for affordable housing. That's the only option. CDBG can be used for any of those other categories. So moving forward, the only thing that I think is going to end up kind of shrinking a little bit is probably just going to be infrastructure on this main street. So we're going to have to come up with some new and creative ways to spend our affordable housing. One of the avenues that I think council is finally going to approach, and you all have any thoughts or ideas for this one. It's not our funds, it's the community responsibility to spend it's the council. But council also has been with, and over the last couple of years, we've slowly been broaching the subject of tenant-based rental assistance. So tenant-based rental assistance with our own funds will allow us to use $300,000 and break that up and spend it over a large number of families where we can allocate a smaller percentage, whether it's $5,000 a year, $1,000 a house. I mean, it can be anything that we want, but you can allocate those funds on a monthly basis to help subsidize rent for low-income families so they can afford rental housing that's already here in the city of Lakewood. So it probably will make a bigger bang for the buck than if we build something like lost at 25 units for $13 million. For $13 million, we could put up a whole lot of people affordable housing for existing housing that's here. So I think that's something that's going to come forward as an option for council. And the other reason I say that is I get a call, again, probably 10 calls a day. You probably get folks who are saying, hey, we have a government housing that needs some subsidies, utilities, but subsidies for our rent. And we've so happy. So that's something that's been really good. Right now, so that's something that once that, and then the rest of the funds, I mean, it's kind of over the CDBG funds. You all kind of have a good idea as to what's going on in the services world, housing world. The public, what do you all see? You don't necessarily have to tell me today. I mean, if you have some ideas or thoughts, great. We'll be happy to jot all of them down. All of the public input that we get is going to go back into council documents down the road. It's about affordable housing, we've got however many about public infrastructure and kind of define what the public is saying. So if we council to consensus development fund, that's kind of what we're looking to get. If you have any thoughts, and you can see what we've done over the years with $7 million in affordable housing, $5 million in infrastructure. Are we going down the right path? Or should we do something completely different? What are your thoughts? The only restriction that I would tell you is for public services, we can only use up to 50% of our grant. So it's a very small amount used for public services, which is the other reason. I think that would probably be $65,000. So with that, I just asked if any of you has any thoughts, you can always let us know tonight, email us, you can show up at one of our many other presentations that we're going to have for public hearings and so forth. It's have anybody that you know that has some good input, send them our way. We're going to get our public survey was supposed to be up. So eventually we'll get that going and I'll get that to Shannon and she can get that as well as so, but yeah, if you have any thoughts or anything, let me know.
Do you know what other cities are doing? I'm assuming other cities get similar grants.
Yeah.
And small enough world that I imagine you're also in contact with other people in similar roles. So
Yeah.
do you have ideas of what they're doing and what's been most effective?
Yeah, we work really closely with Tacoma as part of our home funds comfort. So Tacoma's funds and our funds are fairly consistent for affordable housing. They do housing rehab like we do. They do a lot more new construction. So primarily Pierce County and Tacoma are doing new developments, rehab of existing that are some really large. I wish we had that sort of resource. So they do a lot of that. They do a decent amount of economic development as well. So they have a dedicated staff person. Funds that you know a really large loan actually a lot of businesses jobs. Some it's facade, it's close to job creation business loans. So those have been very effective. Most jurisdictions have some form, at least all the ones that Pierce County, King County, most of the programs that they're in for homeowner occupied people. That's kind of a across the board program. Even nationwide.
Under the city, kids have to be tied.
Yeah, and there's it's a huge amount of times. It's not every city have to meet certain population size and certain population. But that's once you do qualify, then you get those funds every year, and those are the programs that I've seen kind of most consistent. There's a decent amount of service activities, paying assistance. Job training is a really big thing for many cities that will not come. That's a same thing.
The cities that are not entitlement cities or that are too small to be entitlement cities are generally involved in a consortium of county or other cities. So they do get city each jurisdiction.
So I wanted to be here tonight for. I appreciate your time and everything. Email us down the road. Send it to Shannon or send it to me.
Thank you.
No, he didn't show up.
He didn't show up.
We've actually contracted with a company called Quad.
Okay.
Yeah, another Quad Consulting in Plano, Texas. So they do a lot of consolidated planning. And I thought it would be interesting to get somebody outside of our area who's always there to see. And so having somebody in Texas who has worked in Texas, they've worked in the South, they've worked in the Northeast, they've worked in Arizona, they've kind of worked all over the place. So hopefully getting kind of some different eyeballs on it, get some different ideas, some different thoughts on moving forward. And I think it'll be a process. Some of it's going to be council just changing. Right?
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Go to city council. Budget. I know.
Life of a public servant, Lori.
Save all your funding all day.
I did. Yep. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
And now get
Bye, Jack. All right, now we go on to the fun stuff. First, let's, our youth council, so everybody becomes familiar with them. We have Leslie in Australia today.
Hi.
Thank
Which
you.
schools do you attend? And what year are you? Any idea what you want to do next year?
Either nursing.
And you're still a year out, but do you have any idea what you want to do after high school? Awesome.
Oh, cool.
You're gonna live in the LPC? Like it. I want to get you in touch with Lakewood schedule then. If that's something that you could always check out their operation. I'll reach out to them and see if they do a student job.
Yeah, that's, I've been looking for those.
And also, I have something else. One of our Lakewood's Promise Advisory Board members is a St. Clair. She put out something saying that they have student internships at St. Clair. Did I get that to you? I'll get that to you.
You've got two people who work for multi-care in the room, so.
Okay.
It's part of the week.
Right on. All right. Let's move into some funding, shall we?
Do you want me to close the door?
No, I think it's a public meeting. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what I provided you all with, and I love some Excel. So, Denise, I'm gonna put this, I'll share the screen. Let's see. Oh, here I go again. So I created these, got a couple scenarios. You're gonna notice the first one is, all of your ratings. And then from there, we have some funding scenarios, not that we need to. So let's go over the ratings first. So everybody got everything in. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's back this down.
Thank you for your patience. That was wild. I was like,
Oh, you guys.
it's half done, you know.
You shit.
Better late than never.
All right. let's do this. Yeah, so this was everybody's scores, and as you can see, we found an average score. We had a couple recommendations to quite possibly to do different methods rather than, why am I just want to take it to 50 if I could. Well, I'm gonna show. Am I sharing with you right now, Denise?
Nope, just your beautiful face.
Oh, you're the best. Is it not sharing? Said to share.
Oh, I'm gonna scroll down.
Well, yeah, but that's not the right one. Those aren't the right one. I'm trying to get this, just like I did. I wanted to pick this up
Oh, yeah, no, it's on there. It's not
to share.
25, 20, yeah, so go back to your Zoom screen or your team screen or whatever. And then 24, 26.
What? No. Yeah, these are,
Oh, wait.
that's weird. But you guys see what I'm trying to do? Screen. Yeah, it should work.
I can't tell you how many times they go sideways for me. Like it worked, it worked 25 minutes ago. This is very weird.
It's a, sorry, Denise.
Hi, friends. It's okay. Are you able to just take a picture of the document and text it to me? That way you don't have to worry about sharing it.
I can't.
My apologies, I'm not in person.
It's okay.
I will say at least 3 interviews from last week would have changed my score and twisted them, so.
Well, that's something we can take a look at for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, so what you can see, and I'll get these to you, I don't want to hold up, but is I did, obviously the first page is took everybody's ratings, came up with our average scores. We couldn't do a mode, Lori, because there weren't enough common scores for us to do that. Yeah. Get these over. Coming to you, Denise. All right. Okay, so yeah, the first one is your average scores. You can see they're all over the board. All over the board. The colors will make sense later on as we get into a couple of pages. So the first one, so then I did these scenarios so that we can kind of see how our method, if we choose to do any sort of like structured method, that's easy to tell council on the 12th. Great, this is what the numbers look like. And then you can see all the way over to the right where it says can program operate based on the interviews and also their applications. You see if it's either yes or no. So this one is rank funding, which essentially I just said, all right, highest rating, full class. And then the second rating, highest, and I just kind of was tweaking numbers to see how close we could get to our budget if we chose we wanted to fund everyone. The second one is second highest, obviously, is 20K, and down the road you have 16K, 15K, and 12K. If we were to do it this way and fund everyone to include those programs that have said, if I don't get full funding, I can't operate, we have a deficit here of 11,750. You can see that at the bottom, the over under HS budget. So the reason I have rebuilding together in red through all of this is if we harken back to the interviews, they're being funded heavily by Tacoma, I mean, by Lakewood right now. So if we wanted to, if this is what the board decides, and again, we want to fund everybody, we could take that 12,000 and divert it over to somebody else, and then rebuild it together would not be funded by human services.
But that's, go ahead.
My thought is, we need to sell this city so much. The easiest way to sell it is to do it exactly the way that you just did it. The highest score gets a certain percentage, next highest score gets a certain percentage.
Yeah.
Unless there's the only objection to that would be communities and schools, but we've got that lined out perfectly as well. So, I mean, they're not getting maxed out on all four there, so.
In this situation, they are not being maxed out on all. Correct.
Well,
Probably fair, honestly.
I just don't see how you can argue that much.
oh, well, I think the only thing is that, are there any among these that we just say, we don't see the value in funding this at all, and see,
Yeah.
you know, because I mean, realistically, if we said, there were a couple on here where I went, okay, it's a really lofty idea, and I think it has some merit, but I don't think that you have the ability to make it happen, or it's lofty and it would work if you had 30 people on your staff,
Mhm.
or, you know, and, you know, if we were to say, of those that we all kind of determine not something we want to do, then we could change the impact in the positive for the remaining.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that's what we need to do. I'm just saying, as a scenario, it could be that we're not just under budget by, or over budget by 12,000, but we're actually able to make a bigger impact on some of those.
So, once we do that, we're going to have to be able to explain to the city council
Mhm.
in a reasonable and convincing way why we did it.
Mhm.
You know?
And they're not always cooperative about hearing the reasoning.
Well, but in these, if you look over to the percent program and then can the program operate, on these, you can see they clearly told us, Tillicum said we can't. So, I mean, we could say, we went down the line and saw those individuals who our budget is extremely high. They don't have other resources, and they so much as told us, no, we cannot operate. So given that, you would have Tillicum community not being funded at all. And then you would also have teamwork, which I think we loved the interview and I want to hear what you had to say. But it won't, I mean, they said they couldn't operate.
And well, it's like it's a brand new concept into Lakewood.
Yeah.
So
And I think that was it. So that would shore up $36,000. Well, 36. Yeah, 36 for taking those three. If we were to say, let's bump rebuilding somewhere else, or, then it could give us 48,000.
Okay, so where are you getting that from?
If we were to go just as easy as say, well, what we did is we decided that those individuals who told us they cannot run their programs unless we give them full ask, that we decided we just simply couldn't fund them. But, and they've told us we can't afford, first of all, their applications didn't rank high enough to get them full funding.
the only snag I have
Yeah.
is that, is it worth me sharing which ones that I would like significantly boost? Because that could potentially change, right?
Well, yeah, of course.
Because I thought, obviously thank you for sending the answers to my questions. Appreciate you doing that. Of the ones that I saw, I was the rescue mission, rebuilding hope, which are all high, but I would have still boosted them, and both of the Tillicum projects, I would boost significantly at 5 to 10 points each of them.
Okay.
They all stood out to me of like really involved, engaged people, and I felt like I had a better understanding of their programs than maybe what was captured in the application.
Okay.
So I'm sorry that that's gonna throw numbers.
No, I mean, it's an Excel spreadsheet, all I have.
Yes.
So you're saying, so let's just do the math on that. Does anybody else have any scores that you would change based on the interviews? I know you're okay. Lori?
There's one that I really think wrote to me for help. What's the guy that we saw his bedroom?
Steph.
Yeah, that one might go down a little.
Yeah, that one actually for me.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily, that I didn't look at the guys.
But aside from that, no, I think my scores are pretty much consistent.
Lori?
I wouldn't change my.
Wouldn't change. Denise, did the interviews at all have you wanting to change any of your scores?
If we're going by category, no.
If we're going by individual application?
No.
Okay, so Shelby, so let's talk about your TRM, so the rescue mission, they're getting full funding.
Cool.
They asked for a little bit, so they would be fully funded as it is.
Fantastic, but I don't think it will make that much of a difference. It will, unless we want to, do our due diligence and say yes. Well, but they're only out of 45, so I was like, plus 10. Yeah, plus 10 is 43. We can change that to 43.
On rescue mission?
Yes.
Okay, and I mean, they're still getting full funding.
Yes, it doesn't matter, but
Okay.
the thing is, like, if any one of us
Yeah,
looking at our scores and asking, that's why it's just worth changing. That's where I just started. Exactly.
okay, and then you said, let's, with rebuilding hope,
Yes. Let's just, I would say plus 10, but that's 47, which is more than we can do. So let's just do plus 5. Which I think brings us to 42.
Well, they're getting,
you put them,
they're
Put
getting
them
max,
at
they're
37.
getting max anyway.
you put them at 31.
30. I was saying rebuilding hope is 37.
Sorry, I was looking up one. I was looking at rebuilding together, so you have 5, so 43.
Then again, that's what we already did.
Right, but this is just a due diligence. in case we-
Okay.
I think the only one it would really matter on is the Tulip ones. Let's have those. Which would, I would do plus 10 for those.
I was also, I don't think my scores were low on Tillicum, but I was really impressed with.
I also visited the community center and was like, this is a gem that I think could be really.
Did you visit it since recently, since they've,
Visited it on my way here.
okay, all right,
I was like,
so,
I'm just gonna leave a little early and do a little bit.
all right, so
I saw my
then,
neighbor, it was great.
let me do this.
It is, I know.
So 37, so I'm just gonna add, let's see. Shoot. Should just put this up and do it here.
Take a neighbor across the front.
All right, I'm just gonna make the changes here.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause I'm
That's
old.
for you.
Cause I'm old. All right, ratings, people. cents a piece. Okay, great. All right. So all right, so you said you would bump each 10, so Shelby, you put. So this brings this to 42.
Yeah.
Okay, and then 42. All right, so then that brings them to their average. Oh. Have somebody else drive. I need it. All right, so it's 8 and 16. 40.8 for both. Oh, wait, no, not that. 4 and 16, 41.4. 8 and 16, 41.4. So let's go to, we're going to go to rank funding, which is the one we're working on now. So that would move them to Telecom. Delete, and they would get 20. Can somebody read to me, they have 40.8, that puts them in the second high, or wait. Oh no, they would be 40.8, so they would be the, they would be the,
Little bit of a-
yeah, so we've got 1, 2. They would be a little bit above St. Leo's, so that would bump St. Leo's over, and they would get 15. So they'd get $3,000 more. So then, yeah. So they get, huh? Because yeah, that's right. That puts them at 4th highest, right? 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
So they get 15. This is out. And then St. Leo's goes over here. And then I'll change these. This has. I really need you to just be a little smaller. There we go. Okay. What does that do? I mean, it shouldn't do anything. Yeah, it still has us as the same. So then let me go up. Oops.
Well, I tend to be a very harsh grader, so it's good to have.
Okay, so then up here, so then here, actually, they're already, who is first? So they would get, so Rebuilding Hope, and they got, you gave them 41.4.
They stay the same.
They stay the same.
You gave Telecom, oh yeah, you gave Rebuilding Hope. Okay, so they would say the same. So really, it's just one change.
It really is. Yeah. Thank you for going with that.
Yeah, no, not a problem. Save this before I. All right.
So we're still 11,000 over budget then.
So we're still 11,000 over budget unless we take that, well,
Well, wait a minute, you don't know for sure what funding's gonna be, right?
it's 475.
For sure.
Yeah.
I know we didn't know till later.
Last time though, I think it was 2 years ago, we had something where there was an application that was missing. And we asked the city council to consider an extra, what, $22,000 or something? Can we go to them and say, look, we can do a lot and ask for the extra
I will
$12,000?
tell you, we will not be able to. We are cutting left, right, sideways and trying to save bodies.
Okay,
Okay, so the argument for taking that $12,000 away from rebuilding together is that they're getting plenty of funding already. And I don't have the application, so I don't know what they pay for what they're leveraging.
Well, if we're gonna do that, though, we should look at ways of save reason.
Well, let's also consider going back to what we talked about the not funding those individuals. Well, that takes care of, so really, the only people we're not funding is teamwork, I mean, what if we push them? If we wanted somebody new to come in and give our youth something to participate in, and if we bumped this 12,000, now that we've got Telecom Pool, if we bump that 12,000, we could actually fund teamwork and help a fledgling company come in here and produce something for our youth. Just an idea. I'm looking- Yeah, they were the only ones who were really at risk of not being able to operate. Telecom, and we've now gotten them, well, we've gotten them a total of 33,000 of their $50,000 ask. Right? So we've got 20,000 here. And then we gave them 15 rather than 12. So that's getting them 35,000. They asked for 50,000, so they need to come up with $15,000. And what I could do is, before we wrap this up in a tight little bow, is I could contact them and say, look, this is what we're coming up with. What is the worst case scenario for you guys as far as if we can't give you full funding?
You still like.
What
it up the
Can you
rest.
operate on, can you find 15,000 somewhere else?
Because if they can't, it's not really a good use of that money. If it's like, well, we need
Right.
it all or nothing.
That's what I'm
because,
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree, yeah. That sounds good.
Does anybody have any other thoughts? We have 2 more scenarios in here too, if anybody wants to kind of investigate those. Oh, no. Oh, shoot. Guys, I turned up the link. So we're gonna go over here. So then another thing I thought was, all right, let's just do dropping the lowest score. If we were to do that, it would negatively impact. And this actually gets us at $250 extra, which honestly would just go to our Lakewood's Promise. And just so you know, that 475 is, it's already accounts for us taking our Lakewood's Promise allocation out of our overall, which pays for my salary, some of youth council. So that 475 is dedicated to, I think it was like 410 or whatever the math, 510. So if we go to this drop lowest score, you'll see, well, now Telecom would not be.
No, I really.
That's all right. I mean, they would in the second
Yeah,
one,
because it's
they
still
would drop.
Yeah. it's still be with her.
Yeah. And then other ones in the youth would be still teamwork. And then Tacoma Pro Bono. Well, and they said they could operate, it would just be at a drastically reduced. You're not favor of who?
I'm not in favor of total.
Okay.
I agree.
yeah.
Okay. And then the third one I did was. Let's see.
That one we did was for the communities, $18 million.
Vodka martini, please. There you go. Just one. Otherwise, everybody gets $1 million. Become Oprah. So this is our ranking, which I just. Whoops. All right. So this is where we said average score. So 42 to 46 gets 25,000, 37 to 41 gets 15. I don't like this one. I'm going to be honest with you, but it's the only way we work out the numbers because you go from 25,000 a drop to 15. But otherwise, it really wouldn't work out. And then 12.
You know, what is, maybe that's also one of the solutions of how do we bring that down a little bit more evenly if we go with the first one?
Well, if we go with the first one, it's,
They still get 72,000.
yeah, but still, I think it's easier to sell that way.
If we go with, if we go with the first one. You guys can do the math.
Yeah, I think the first, I feel most comfortable personally with the first,
The first scenario.
yes. And then kind of like figuring out how we can make up that difference. But that's just me.
And talk about what we do next year as far as.
No, we couldn't. We wouldn't.
Realizations.
Oh, you know what? No, we wouldn't be able to fully fund. So in order for this to work, this scenario, we have to shoot, because we have 11,750 deficit, we have to take out teamwork for rebuilding, but we don't get to take that 12,000 from rebuilding, like I said earlier, and give it to teamwork, because that 12,000 would be.
Doesn't go wrong.
Right, so really the only way this is going to work is, that's the only way it's gonna work, and rebuilding still gets their 12,000.
You want rebuilding or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make, is that?
Yeah, see, they get $1.5 million for that program.
Rebuilding?
That program budget is $1.5 million.
Yeah, we're giving them,
But it's the 25.
yeah, we're giving them 5% of their budget. You can see right there. 158,600 is their program budget up in the,
$12,000.
no.
No, that kind of a budget.
So where would we put that to fully fund Tilcom? Or,
Well, that's a deficit.
No, that's.
no, I already took teamwork out because unless they're funded fully, they can't operate. So we can't even do what I said originally, which is shift that rebuilding up to teamwork and fund them almost fully. Because like I said,
So you're trying to stay in the same color band?
not really.
Because honestly, I don't think it's quite right that Telecom has, Communities and Schools has 4 programs. I mean, I think it's terrific. But from our perspective, I mean, let's fully fund one and partially fund maybe all of them, potentially just one. I mean, just knock them way back and take one off the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, because they do have, that was my problem this year now, and is that really applicable for people who just have one allocation?
There's the problem doing that.
Yeah.
When we're selling it to the city council,
That's what I was gonna
we're
say.
explaining to them, this is the way the process will be used, except for,
Yeah, except for our special.
Well, and, but did anyone else do 4?
But the other thing is Western Coastal, which I ranked really high, I thought was a terrific idea. They have more money than anyone. Do they need our money? They applied for it, but do they need it? No. No. But I don't know how you.
I was gonna just raise
Go ahead, Denise.
I was gonna say, if we're considering that, then we would have to consider that for, like, if other organizations have, more money coming in. For example, EFN has several millions of dollars coming in, like communities and schools. Like, yes, food insecurity is a big issue, but so are our children having support in schools. So if we're going to measure apples to apples with who has extra dollars coming in, we have to look at it across the board and not just for one applicant.
So then we
You're
can,
completely right.
which we can pay attention here to what Denise is talking about, the percent of program budget. Right here in the, I mean, so you look down at somebody like Lindquist Dental, they're asking us for 31, I mean, our 31%, we're giving 20. I don't even think we need to really pay attention to those higher ones, but communities and schools, let's see, 7% of their budget, 13, you got boys and girls club. But yeah, and so I didn't take budget, I took program budget. When I did this percent to program budget. If we want to sit there and consider their overall budget, but then you got to think too, these places have different spending, staff sizes and everything like that. Do we really want to get into the weeds of their overall budget? I mean, the Y pays how much for leasing that building?
I think you're asking for trouble.
But I do wonder if, like, the same question stands though, is it a slippery slope if we say no to rebuilding together because of other sources, when I think the same argument can be made for others? And like, what would make rebuilding together rise to the level of, no, we definitely are just gonna disregard that?
Right. So I think you're right. And ultimately, I'm the one who has to write the staff report and Kyle has to present it.
Well, and
So if we can make it, I just think it should be an easy process, easier for us to explain, for people to listening to understand and accept. And certainly those individuals who are not being given all of their funds.
What if we just, instead of giving $12,000 to the lowest category, why don't we do like 11,000 or something, so that it just balances out?
I think, what, I'll have to look again. Does anybody have I think we said the lowest is 12,000, high of 25, low of 12.
I didn't know that.
But let me,
oh, in terms of what they requested?
well, no, what we can give.
Oh,
I didn't know.
I didn't know there was a whole.
Hold on. I could be thinking of.
Still uninformed.
The application basically.
Yeah.
So
I could be wrong.
I am,
do it. Control F.
believe it or not, and I can't believe I'm saying this as the person who has to go and present, I'm less concerned about basically saying like, this was our justification on the spreadsheet, than saying, we felt this way through the interview process, through what they said, that sort of thing. We are humans dealing with humans, not robots dealing solely with numbers.
Yep, that's our score. That's where we got our score from.
Yes.
Okay, there's nothing saying 12,000, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not, at least on the application. So what happens if we change? Yeah. We
Yeah, like change this?
Jump, like.
And I agree, but then I think also, we don't look at applications side by side when we score them. And so I think about something like EFN. EFN is a great organization, and St. Leo's is getting food from them, Nourish is getting food from them. And so it's kind of like, in a sense, by supporting one, we are already supporting the others. And that's not to say that I think that we should say we're not going to support EFN, but is that a double dip? And I think so. As we're rating, we're not taking into account the fact that there are partnerships and there are nuances that a rating system just doesn't take into account. So I love the idea of being able to say, well, this is how it all came out in the wash and that sort of thing.
Okay.
But I'm also willing to go to that and say, you know, if we decide that we want to, I don't want to say forego the rating system, not by any means, but if we say, gosh, community and schools, all of their applications were really good, but that's 4 applications that we're taking separately, and all of a sudden they're getting $72,000, which is 1/6 or whatever of the budget. Now I'm just talking on one thing.
No, that's fine.
Put some restrictions on it for next year.
I think we
One
should,
six.
next year, everyone gets one.
That's, so that would get me the school's 50% of our budget.
Well, or.
Yeah.
Not a multiple in the same category.
Right, like Hilton has.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
they're separate. right
I
now,
like
right,
that.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that can be part of our learning process and what we implement for the future also.
That carbon copy machine, this word for word.
Were there any others besides community and schools that had more than one in the same category?
Yes.
Pro bono.
Yeah, and come up pro bono.
Okay, because maybe that's where we look at doing more of a like, doesn't, the number that we've assigned right now makes sense, given that they have multiple.
If we took, 2,000 from, from. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 lowest, that's $10,000.
What are we trying to accomplish by taking 10,000 from
Trying
the lowest?
to cover the deficit.
We have.
Well, we've covered the deficit if we don't support rebuilding together, but if we're going
No,
to
if we
support
don't,
teamwork,
oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, we're up here, but if we take them out and then,
To giving that to somebody else.
That balances the budget.
this balances the budget. I misspoke originally. We were at 11,000. Yeah, we were over, when I had, watch the,
1,700.
when I had 12,000 here. Look, this number here goes up to 11,750. So we're almost $12,000. When I take that out,
so we're saying,
we are now over budget. We have $250 left. Which is just gonna
So
make
we're
us
not funding teamwork.
I really hate that.
I do too.
Is that what we're saying?
Well, in this scenario,
scenario, yes.
we're not. And the only reason I would say to not fund rebuilding, because they are receiving a lot of money from us, is if we were to do this. Okay, yeah, that brings us at a plus of 12,250. And if we wanted to pull some money here so that we can help fund this fledgling. Oops, 12,000.
Then if we go again, saying we're not funding them because they make a
Yeah,
lot of money from somebody else, I'd feel more comfortable
So we have 13.
reducing the 12,000 to everybody, fund team.
Teamwork, their full ask, so that they
Well,
could,
not necessarily the full ask, do they need it?
yeah, they can operate without it.
they're also asking for 12.
No, they were
Oh,
asking, no, they were asking for 25. They asked for the full amount. Let's see, teamwork, yeah, they asked for 25. I mean, we could go youth to youth, even the same category. If we're looking at and say communities in school, we could say, we really want teamwork to be funded. And we could take the 13,000 out of communities and schools. Somewhere.
But then it should be also do that for each category that we have extra, so it's a little bit. The only reason I'm asking is for somebody saying, well, why did you do that for?
Because we wanted to keep it in youth.
And keep it in you, okay.
I mean, if that's, you know what I'm saying, like,
Yes, yes.
and I can guarantee with the council, hearing from youth council, everybody, like, we need more things for youth to do. We need more things for youth to have access to things that are going to help to bring them more peace of mind. So, I mean, if that's what the way you guys choose, that's our sell.
That makes sense to me.
And, on the line with community health care. Oh, yeah, they're asking for 15, but what you have over in your spaces.
No, hold on.
I'm wrong one. I'm the wrong page.
Community health care.
Give it in a 16 and they only asked for 15.
Do
I
I?
mean, it's only $1,000.
Oh, no, we aren't going to give anybody more than, where do you see, where are we at? Community?
Well,
It's probably like 9, number 12, call, or, row 12.
Did they only ask for 15? Community health care? They asked for 15. Okay, so that would put them at 15.
Oh, I see, like some of these are actually.
Yeah.
We just need to make sure.
Yeah, there we go.
We're not being like, oh, you
There
asked
were
for
only-
this, we can get some more. No.
Yeah.
The argument for rebuilding together is that they got the lowest, it's schools in the lowest category. And they want $25,000 to start work out. So we don't want it.
So then we can put this, and then we still got 1250 from that. Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. Say again, that's 1250. Oops. Okay. So that gets us 13,250. So we need 1150, right? If we wanted to fund all of teamwork, minus, we got them to 13,250. We need 11,750. And if we decide, because we want to go with the same group, provide youth, then we would take that out of communities and schools across their 4 programs, divided by 4. I mean, each program would be reduced by like $3,000.
Which I feel like is a drop in the bucket, so you can fund a really cool.
Well, and I wonder, obviously, they asked for 25,000, communities and schools asked for 25,000 for each.
Yeah.
Can we say for them in particular, just here is your lump sum divided equally? Does that make sense?
It makes it hard to write the contract, I think.
Does it make it less hard than saying your high school support gets 25,000, whereas McKinney-Vento gets 20, I don't know.
Well, each one gets its own contract, so they have things they have
Yeah.
to stick to. I think those.
Yeah, like Mary always says, we fund 8 programs,
Yeah.
not agencies.
But I guess, is there any reason that we couldn't say, each program gets 18,000 to get them to that 72,000 level, or whatever? What did we say, we're gonna pull from communities and schools?
It's like 2938 each.
Well, we can do it if we feel that we can justify explaining to the city council that we deviated from our procedure. This one category.
Yeah, well, and I think we're making our procedure up. So what we've done is we've got the math, but then what we're doing is we're kind of taking the human element into it as well, harkening back on what council has been pushing on, and my youth council, which is we need more things for youth to do in our city.
Well, and we've not had this where we've had
Right.
one group put in 4 it. So they're gonna lose some in that, but they're gonna they're getting more than they had.
They
But I
are.
mean, that's the penalty I think you're gonna pay this year is a reduction of whatever scored less than the top one.
So
Well, so the original for communities and schools totaled 72,000. We're saying that we're gonna pull 12,000 from them, then each program would still get 15,000 if we divided it evenly.
But one of them had the highest score in the county.
I think we should just stick with
Schools.
removing it straight from each of their awarded, so we can say, we scored. And then we backed out, you know, the 3,000 or whatever, which probably for ease, make it an even. $3,000, so this would be 22.
You do that to the top score one now.
I think why,
Now we have to explain why we're fully funding a program that got the lowest score.
because it's youth centric.
And we still define guys, we were at two, so that's a problem.
Still find value and you want me to.
And they probably, I mean, I don't, you guys know better than me, they may have ranked lower because they don't have a presence in Lakewood.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
We want to get
We
them a
want to,
presence in
exactly.
Lakewood, and what I will do is closely monitor. Because remember, these numbers or these amounts they're gonna get that this year, and then they'll get the same amount next year. So what I will do is work closely with that staff to monitor their program. I would love to have them come in and be more involved with my youth council, so that's gonna get them involved. And then if they don't produce at the end of that first year, we don't fund them next, or we don't recommend funding them next year.
Is there a reporting process? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when I develop the contracts, with each of them, I work with them and say, to find, what are your realistic goals? You know, don't set yourself up to fail. You know what your wheelhouse is. Don't set yourself up to fail. We'll set realistic goals. That's why a lot of the questions you guys had was, you guys served 500 people last year, yet you're only showing us you're gonna do 300. Why is that? Well, we're playing it safe, knowing we're gonna overdo it.
So the answer to the question, why do they get such a low score, is because we don't have their presence in our community right now. And the way that the application is worded, there's certain categories that you have to show, for example, outcome, you know, those kinds of things that they can't do because they're not here.
Exactly, exactly.
Good thinking, I like that.
How about that?
Well, I'd like to open it up to Australia and Leslie. You've been listening to us in the room. I know this is new for you, but what are your thoughts? Having listened to what you're saying.
We need a little
Oh, yes, that would help. Oh, my goodness. So teamwork, and they were at our youth summit, actually. So teamwork, it's a very small organization. It's a mom and a son, and he is a gamer, an online gamer, an influencer all over the place. And what they do is they help individuals with, first of all, their online presence, meaning y'all need to realize that your online presence is going to go with you for the rest of your life. So you need to be safe, you need to be smart. They also teach them leadership skills, how to kind of
Yeah, like how basically if you career opportunities in that field as an option. You know, also branding is huge, and how are you putting yourself out there?
Yeah.
So it's basically, I almost thought of it as like computer social media literacy that was very innovative, and I've not seen something like that before.
Well, and it was explaining it, giving examples, helping you think about how to develop your own, but a huge safety component to it. Like, this is why you don't do it this way. This is what to avoid. Why? Don't ever do this, and here's why. I think that's really important.
An example of that was like, don't give your best friend your password.
I do.
delivered by somebody who actually lives in town, so it makes more sense. And they'll hear it. Well, we would hear it.
So if we
Yeah,
were to
and
do
then we
this
end up more
one,
like by
25,
like-
and then communities and schools, we said we were gonna knock down, oh, wait, I know why, because this one needs to be 17. Okay, and this one, so we got this, oh, here is,
Should be 12.
and then this one is 9.
Yep.
And that gets us to 250 additional. I mean, I could throw it into communities and schools, 22, 250, just to get us to that 0. Or we could just put it in like what's promised, but the budget. And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, that gets them, what did we say, 60,000? Right,
I think so.
12. Yeah, that gets them $60,000. Well, that's a pretty good chunk of change. So, because 60,000 divided by 475, I mean, they're getting 13% of our budget.
What do you, ladies see as maybe the benefit of this program?
I want to do this while we have some time, if everybody would, I would like to. Let's see, let's show. Whoa. I'm so awful at this. Here we go.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna share, let me see, I'm gonna try and share this with Denise. Denise, are you seeing this? Teamwork? Oh, she lost reception. All right. All right, so, yeah, so they equip, they empower. I wonder if there's any, that's what I was looking for. Partner work zone resident programs, campaign. Programs. Yeah, I wish I had a little video. Work zone gaming clubs, responsible gaming, health habits, online safety, character building, sportsmanship, leadership, college and career opportunities. Yeah, so that's what she was talking about. That her son did it. And, you know, our kids these days, our young adults, have more, in my opinion, courage than many of us, and that they're looking for their passions. They would like to find a way to kind of follow those, so they're not like us, which are sitting behind desks, right? And so this is, as I understand it, kind of that, in that vein. Workshops, engage, equip, empower. Responsible, yeah, online safety and etiquette, healthy habits, digital literature, yeah, social media, branding, character building, bullying, violence, and risky behavior prevention.
I feel like it covers a lot of areas, such as online, social media, since like help us with those areas. So as much as it focuses on one area,
Yeah.
it focuses on youth, like Something does happen to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like it's something that you all, it's fun, it's engaging, right? Yeah. Okay. What do we think, everyone? Do we have our recommendations?
I'm good, yes.
All of this and seven, that it doesn't seem likely that we would have that.
You're welcome for the spreadsheet. Right here. I think having the math right there was just like, okay, yes.
Yeah, it makes it so.
I think it's a strong plan and I think it's defensible, which is important, not just to the city council, but we're going to be talking to people who are not getting what they asked for. So,
Well, and I think it gives us a basis also to look at how do we want to modify this in the future so that we're continually honing and having the best process that possible. Best, fairest, etc.
Agreed. And I think, maybe we do take it to something that's, less about numbers and there really is more thought. And, something we talked about going forward is what if we pick two categories, kind of seeing where we are as a city then. I don't know that much will change, but, and then pick two categories of the five. And then the next year, like I think it was you, Lori, that recommended that maybe the next funding year we pick the other two.
the only danger, sure, but the only danger to do it that way is what if the following cycle you have not as good, not as many.
Or if we have funded some things that all of a sudden go, what, you mean I can't apply for funding again?
Our bucket of money is so little. I'm just gonna put it out here and say, we're not really doing anybody any good. We don't have enough.
I know. Well, and that's what we talked about. Do we pull back and do a project or fund one or two or three, a handful of organizations?
If you do that, then you would probably have some that are gonna close shop.
Or is there a way in the application to say, these are our 5 emphases? Obviously, you qualify for, you're applying for funding for one, but how are you, how does your organization and program impact any of these other areas also? So it's, yes, this is my primary, but it also tends to this thing, just as a fun.
Before we say absolutely on this year's, I will talk to Telecom. What if Telecom says we can't? Do we want to look at an option from taking, because they are in the food category, and if we're going to have some continuity in our thinking of, well, we're going to rob this Peter in the kids category to play the following category, do we also then look at possibly, should they say, no, we cannot? Honestly, what if we were to take some 15,000? We would need 10. We would need 10. I'm just thinking, what if we took some from EFN, who is highly funded, which breaks my heart because they are an incredible organization. But you're right, there is that, and we're giving them, okay, 28,000. So you're probably not taking from there. Well, I mean, I think we should come up with a plan for that, though.
I guess you take a little bit away from all the other food.
We could do like you just did and take 3,000
From each of the other ones?
each of the other ones, and it gets them within 1,000 of what they asked.
Well, it doesn't. Oops, I have 20.
We're getting you. But,
No, I want to make sure that when I talk to them, if they say we can't, and I mean, I'll push them, I won't just take the first answer, like, are you sure? You know, we're really trying to work with you, however, and if they say, we can't, we can't. I mean, I trust that Jesse Black will be really honest. But I just want to be able to have something, because we have to decide today, because then I have to go on the 28th to present this to the city manager, so I want to have an option that's blessed by the group.
I mean, to my thinking, it makes most sense to do what we just did for the youth category and take from EFX.
Okay.
Because I just think if we didn't, we could be asked, why didn't we do that?
Well, some would say, if you look at making a difference, which I'm a huge fan of, so this is hard, but they're only, you know, EFN of those program budgets is 1.4 and 1. So it's, I think for those programs, it's a little less palpable or whatever to take from them when you've got, you know, this 25,000 we're giving to making a difference at only 4% of the, you know, 0.4% of the program budget. So do we take, you know, we're trying to make up it. So do we take 5 from them? There's 5 there, and then split the difference between the other 3.
Sure.
Wait a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Just wander up your direction, so I think you guess where I'm looking. Ooh. Yes. No money.
LASA is only asking for
15. Yeah. The top gray one.
this one, emergency shelter. Oh, yeah.
It's right here.
All right, so wait, we just found, oh, Lori, good. Can you guys scrub the other numbers, please? All right, so then if we give them, wait, where else can we give them Tillicum? So Tillicum has, okay,
It's in the.
okay, so then we can do 20 here. Oops. Okay, that gets us closer to our number. Oh my gosh. 20. All right, all right. So that gets them 40. Enter. Get over here. Where are you? Sorry, guys. Okay, so now with that gets Tillicum between their crisis stabilization of 20 and their food bank 20. So that gets them 40. So the 10,000, what if we take 5,000?
22.
That's last year. They're asking for 24/7 this year.
Okay.
All right. Wait, were you looking at the right number for the other one too
Well, I
then?
don't know.
No, losses out. No, they weren't.
Or is it-
Plus is asking for 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is right.
All right. So we're gonna take this one back to 20.
Was making a difference asking for 22 or 25?
25.
I'm just saying 22. Whoops.
They are getting 22 this year. So the first column D is their ask. Column E is their the limit that we can have 25,000, because remember, many of like Asia Pacific culture, 80.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, but remember that was, well, it's still out of bounds, but what it was a 2-year total.
Yeah,
So
but
all
still,
those
she was
numbers
still.
should be in half.
Yeah, and then the third, is what they got. I just wanted you guys to see who we're currently funding in case it made any sort of difference.
I'm assuming all of them are also in good standing.
Yes, okay. So they're back to getting 35 now. So we can get that, if we take 5 from making a difference, going back to what we originally said. 5 from making a difference, and then the other 10,000, or make the other 10,000 up by taking equal parts from the other providers. Up here in this food group. So so right now they're getting 15 right here, Silicon, and they're gonna get 20 right here.
Because what if you took and reduced all the $20,000 awards to like 18 or 17,500?
Ooh, we could do that. Let's do, 17,500. Oh, that takes them down too. But let's see. Why is that 17?
Because we had dropped it by $3,000 to
Oh,
accommodate.
right, I'm just,
Team.
we're gonna leave that. 17,500. 17.
And this is all provided they can't find $15,000.
Yeah, and so there it is. Lori, you're brilliant. Yeah, so if they tell me, no, we cannot, then because they are one of the only, they're the 2 remaining left that say they can't operate their program. So Telecom, so that gets us 15, right? I said extra down there. Okay, so 15,250. So that gives them 17,250. They have 17,500 plus, we'll just do 15,250 plus, and I think they were another 1,500 up there. Or 15,000, I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, 15,000 right here. Yeah, so that gets them at, I mean, that's 47,750. So we'll hit them with, we can get you 35,000, can you operate? And that way we can push everybody back up to 20,000. They say they can't, okay. If they push, we can get them to 47,750 and reduce all of those 7,500. Are we happy?
Yeah, I think those ones that were just on that threshold and in danger of not being funded are important enough
I agree.
to take them some other places.
I agree. I agree.
I don't feel comfortable.
I feel like we did. I feel like we reached a mathematical logical, but then we also brought ourselves out of that and thought with our hearts.
Yeah, for sure.
We've done that every year.
Michael, you lead the heart journey.
What's that?
You lead the heart journey. I do want to remind you too, before Kyle bids us adieu, you too, what I said earlier, just hit me up if you, let's see what that date was. We have two of our members that are dangerously close to being expired.
The members are not dangerously close to being
I
excluded.
believe I'm term limited.
Limited to
I don't think that's accurate.
December 15th, 2024 is when you will, your right is up, so.
I'm not gonna tell you.
Keep it a mystery.
Right. You want to call it?
I think with that, we are adjourned.
Oh, are we able to hear from Denise that she's all good with it?
Hold on, that's a good, thank you.
85. Right in front of the MRI installation.
I'm gonna put her on speaker.
Food shop the other day, and I almost got lost trying to get out of it. They got signs that go to it,
Right.
you know.
But no signs.
She's not, before I approach them tomorrow, I'll call her, but
Okay,
she's lost.
I think it'll just be good due diligence.
Yes, I agree. Thank you for thinking of that, Shelby.
She said, I could probably use.
All right, thank you. I will, Leslie, I'll get you that information about, where's my, yeah, I mean, do you too, while you have Leslie, do you know of any, or can you just forward to me any nursing or intern programs that you know of at multi-care?
Just been asking around, but I'm looking at it off the top of my head.
Okay,
Well, we've got the host.
Yes.
uh,
Went away.
Driving around and trying to find a park.
And I know that we have.
No, I know we have
campus.
I know we have MASH camp, but I think that is, I don't know what that process
It's
is.
excellent.
I was thinking of MASH.
I mean, I'll always stay with you.
That was something that was coming into my head. But there's also something that is also offered